Big Smoke starts off as one of CJ's close friends from Grove Street, but later becomes one of the biggest traders in San Andreas. At first he seems loyal, but it slowly shows that he only cares about money and power. Behind everyone's back, Smoke makes deals with the Balas, Vagos, and even corrupt cops to sell drugs and take over the city. CJ starts noticing something's wrong when Smoke refuses to help during gang fights and moves into enemy areas. His excuses don't make sense, and it becomes clear he's not on CJ's side anymore. In the end, CJ finds Smoke hiding in a heavily guarded drug base. Even when caught, Smoke acts like he did nothing wrong, saying he just wanted to be rich and famous. He dies still blaming CJ, not seeing how badly he hurt his old friends. Catalina is one of the most wild and dangerous characters in the GTA series. She shows up as someone who is completely unpredictable and full of anger. In San Andreas, she forces Carl CJ Johnson to help her rob banks, and she doesn't just want the money, she actually enjoys hurting people along the way. She even kills witnesses just for fun. Catalina constantly talks down to CJ and says things like, "All you little men are scared of strong women," showing that she thinks she's better than everyone, especially men. She always addresses herself as a misandrist, which means she hates men, and it's clear she only sees them as tools to get what she wants. CJ starts to feel uncomfortable with how violent and cold she is, but Catalina doesn't care. Later on, in GTA 3, Catalina shows up again, and she's just as dangerous. This time, she's working with a drug gang called the Colombian Cartel. She kidnaps a woman named Maria, who is the girlfriend of the main character Claude. Even after Claude pays the ransom, Catalina turns on him anyway. She tells him, "You haven't learned that I'm not to be trusted," and then tries to kill him. But in the end, Claude is the one who takes her down. Catalina's actions in both games show that she never cares about anyone but herself. She lies, betrays, and uses people to get what she wants. Whether it was CJ or Claude, she left both of them hurt and angry. Lance Ryder Wilson starts off looking like a loyal friend to CJ. He's small in size but full of energy, always running around with CJ and Sweet to steal guns and supplies and help out the gang. At first, he seems like one of the boys, someone who grew up with CJ and was ready to fight for the neighborhood. Ryder was never really loyal at all. Behind everyone's back, he was working with Big Smoke and the Ballas, the same gang that Grove Street was at war with. Smoke promised him money, power, and respect, and Ryder quickly agreed. He didn't care who got hurt. The most painful part comes when CJ finds out what really happened to his mom. Caesar, another friend, shows CJ a green car, the same one that was used in the drive by shooting that killed her. And who was in that car? Big Smoke and Ryder. That means Ryder didn't just turn on his gang, he helped set up an ambush that tore CJ's family apart. After this, he's not a friend anymore, he's an enemy. He becomes just another gangster hiding out in Big Smoke's crack house, surrounded by money and drugs. By the end of the game, CJ finds Ryder on the seaside pier while he's trying to escape by sea. It's the final showdown. Ryder yells, fights, but it's too late. CJ shoots him and ends it right there, finally getting justice for his mom and for Grove Street. What hurts the most is that Ryder was someone CJ grew up with. They were neighbors, childhood friends. But in the end, Ryder sold everything out for money. He didn't care who he hurt, and he never said sorry. His betrayal shows just how far greed can go. It can even turn close friends into enemies. Frank Tenpenny is the dirty cop who pulls all the strings in San Andreas. From the very beginning, he treats CJ like trash, bossing him around, threatening him, and making it clear that he's the one in charge. He doesn't act like a normal police officer. Instead, he uses his badge to scare people and do whatever he wants. As part of the corrupt CRASH unit, Tenpenny doesn't care about justice. He forces members of Grove Street to either do what he says or pay him off, and if they refuse, he makes them disappear. As the story goes on, CJ starts to realize just how deep Tenpenny's lies go. Tenpenny secretly works with the Ballas, Grove Street's biggest enemies, and helps them fill the streets with drugs, especially crack cocaine. While the Ballas get stronger and richer, Grove Street falls apart. That's not an accident. It's part of Tenpenny's plan to destroy Grove Street from the inside. But his worst move is even more personal. Tenpenny helps plan the drive by shooting that kills CJ's mom. Why? Because he knows that tragedy will bring CJ back to Los Santos, where Tenpenny can use and control him. Throughout the game, Tenpenny acts like he's untouchable. He laughs in CJ's face, brags about being above the law, and even says, "I can shit on you from such a height." He forces CJ to do his dirty work, starts wars between gangs, and then tries to get rid of CJ when he's done using him. But in the end, CJ fights back. During the big riot in Los Santos, Tenpenny tries to run away in a stolen fire truck. CJ chases him through the chaos and finally knocks him off a collapsing bridge. Tenpenny dies in the wreck, and with him, years of lies, control, and corruption come to an end. His death isn't just an ending, it's justice for every person he hurt. Dimmitri Rascalov is one of the most cold-hearted and sneaky villains in GTA 4. At first, he seemed like just another mobster in Liberty City, working alongside his close friend Mikhail Faustine, but that friendship didn't last long. Dimmitri had no problem turning on Mikhail the moment it helped him rise higher. He planned Mikhail's murder and took over his entire business, teaming up with another powerful criminal, Ray Bulgarin. From there, things only got worse. Dimmitri didn't stop at backstabbing Mikhail. He's also set his sights on Niko Bellic, the game's main character, using lies and fake deals to trap him and try to get him killed. Throughout the game, Dimmitri never faces Niko directly. Instead, he works from the shadows, sending others to do his dirty work. He steals Niko's money, sends him into ambushes, and slowly ruins his life, one move at a time. Dimitri's true personality comes out during the game's final mission. After pretending to make peace, he once again double-crosses Niko and tries to have him killed, even after taking payment. He doesn't just betray Niko, he mocks him too. At one point, he laughs and says he was happy when Roman died, just to hurt Niko even more. No matter which ending you choose, deal or revenge, Niko finally gets his chance to face Dimmitri. In the deal ending, Niko tracks him down to a quiet island, where they have their last confrontation. Niko shoots Dimmitri and watches as he slowly dies. It's not just payback, it's closure. Dimmitri had taken so much from Niko, including his cousin, his peace, and his trust. And now, Niko gets to end it. Dimitri's story shows how far some people will go for power. He betrayed his best friend, tricked his enemies, and destroyed lives, all because he wanted to be the most powerful man in the city. In the end, his greed left him alone, bleeding out in silence. Mikhail Faustin was the unstable and violent leader of the Russian mafia in GTA 4. He was once feared and respected, but over time he became more paranoid, angry, and dangerous. He drank too much, yelled at everyone, and didn't trust anyone, not even his closest people. One of those people was Dimmitri Rascalov, who had been his right-hand man for years. But even that loyalty couldn't last. Dimmitri eventually turned on Faustin, deciding he was too much of a risk to keep around. Instead of dealing with it directly, Dimmitri tricked Niko into doing the dirty work for him. Dimmitri pretends that the mafia wants Mikhail gone, and tells Niko it's just another job. So Niko follows orders and heads to Mikhail's nightclub, Perestroika, where he expects a normal hit for money. But things quickly turn bad. Cops storm the place, Mikhail's bodyguards are killed, and it's clear this wasn't just a normal mission, it was a setup. Dimmitri had planned the whole thing. He used Niko to get rid of Faustin while keeping his own hands clean. When Mikhail realizes what's happening, he runs to the rooftop in a panic. There, Niko finds him and holds him at gunpoint. In those last moments, Mikhail isn't yelling or fighting. He's scared. He begs for his life, knowing exactly who betrayed him and why, but it's too late. Billy Gray is the wild and unpredictable leader of the biker gang called the Lost MC in the Lost and Damned. He used to be close friends with Johnny Klebitz, the gang's vice president, but after returning from rehab, Billy quickly changes. He goes from being a brother to acting like a power-hungry dictator. Right away, he starts making reckless decisions. One of the first is stealing a huge load of heroin from a rival gang called the Angels of Death. This pulls Johnny into serious trouble, even though he isn't part of the plan. Things get worse fast. Billy isn't just being reckless, he's planning something much darker. He secretly works with a triad gang leader to set up Johnny and another lost member, Jim Fitzgerald. Billy wants them both dead, and the whole setup is just one big trap to get rid of them. But the plan doesn't go how Billy wanted. Johnny and Jim manage to survive the ambush and escape. Billy tries to run too, but crashes his bike during his failed getaway. He gets arrested, and his plan completely falls apart. Still, the betrayal is clear. Billy tried to kill his own friends just to get ahead. Later in the story, the truth about everything comes out. During the final mission, Johnny confronts Billy one last time. There's no forgiveness, no hesitation. Johnny shoots Billy dead, ending his former friend's trail of lies and cruelty. It's not just about revenge, it's justice for all the pain Billy caused. He even slept with Johnny's girlfriend, proving he had no loyalty at all. In the end, Billy's story is a warning about what happens when power goes to someone's head. He betrayed his brothers, made enemies out of his own gang, and lived without any respect. And he died the same way he lived, violently and completely alone. Ray Bulgarin is a massive and intimidating Russian mob boss who appears in both Grand Theft Auto 4 and The Ballad of Gay Tony. In the main game, he first shows up as an ally of Dimmitri Rascalov, one of the biggest villains Niko deals with. At one point, Dimmitri tries to get rid of Niko by setting him up. He tells Niko there's money waiting for him, but it's a trap. When Niko shows up to collect, he finds Ray Bulgarin instead. Bulgarin is furious, shouting and accusing Niko of owing him something. Without much warning, he orders his men to kill Niko. A fight breaks out, and Niko barely escapes with his life. It's a clear message. Ray Bulgarin is dangerous and has no problem killing anyone who gets in his way. In The Ballad of Gay Tony, Ray plays an even bigger role as the main villain. This time, he's not just backing someone up, he's leading the charge. Bulgarin runs a powerful Russian crime group that causes problems for Tony Prince and his bodyguard, Luis Lopez. He doesn't just mess with them financially, he threatens their lives and puts them in constant danger. The tension keeps rising as Tony and Luis try to recover stolen diamonds that Bulgarin is also after. Eventually, it all leads to one final, explosive mission. At the end of the DLC, Ray tries to run away on a plane full of drugs. Luis and Tony chase him to the airport, fighting their way through his guards. In a dramatic final scene, Luis throws a grenade into the plane just as it's taking off. This explosion destroys the jet mid-air, killing Bulgarin in a huge fireball above the ocean. It's a fiery and fitting end for a man who spent his time double-crossing others and using violence to get what he wanted. From Nico to Luis, Bulgarin caused chaos in everyone's life, but in the end, it all came crashing down. Sonny Felli is the main mafia boss in Vice City and one of the biggest villains in the game. Back in 1971, he betrayed Tommy Vercetti, who was supposed to be his friend. Instead of helping him, Sonny set Tommy up and got him sent to prison for 15 years. He used Tommy like a pawn in his own mafia plans, and Tommy paid the price with his freedom. When Tommy finally gets out of prison and starts building a name for himself in Vice City, Sonny doesn't come to welcome him or offer support. Instead, he demands money. He wants the cash from Tommy's drug deal and claims he deserves a cut of everything Tommy earns, like Tommy still belongs to him. Sonny treats loyalty like it doesn't matter. He's cold and ruthless. Even though Tommy helped build the Felli family's reputation, Sonny sees him as just another tool. On top of that, Sonny manipulates others, like Lance Vance. He uses Lance's jealousy to turn him against Tommy, making Lance believe that Sonny actually respects him more. In reality, Sonny doesn't care about anyone but himself. His greed and need for control make him willing to betray anyone, even people who once trusted him. In the final mission, Tommy storms his own mansion where Sonny and his men have shown up to take over. Under the mansion's giant chandeliers, he shoots Sonny dead. Ricardo Diaz is the loud, flashy drug boss who lives in a big mansion on Starfish Island in Vice City. He's part of the Colombian cartel and is known for always showing off, flaunting money, power, and women like trophies. At first, he hires Tommy Vercetti to work for him as hired muscle. Diaz seems like just another rich criminal who wants control, but things quickly start to get messy. Behind the scenes, Diaz is already planning to cheat Tommy. He wants to steal the money Tommy is earning for him, showing that even when he acts friendly, he's thinking about how to come out on top. At the same time, Lance Vance, Tommy's partner, is getting fed up with Diaz too. Lance doesn't trust Diaz and wants to take over his drug empire, so what you get is a double betrayal. Diaz tries to rip off Tommy, and Lance is quietly planning to kill Diaz and take his place. It all falls apart when Diaz makes a move to shortchange Tommy during a major drug deal. That's the final straw. Soon after, Tommy and Lance storm into Diaz's mansion and without hesitation shoot Diaz right in the face. The moment is brutal and quick, but it changes everything. Diaz dies almost instantly, and Tommy and Lance take over his entire operation. Diaz may be gone, but his actions leave a big mark. His greed, arrogance, and hunger for power caused all his problems. He thought he was untouchable, but in Vice City, everyone is replaceable. Taking over Diaz's empire is what helps Tommy rise to the top of the drug world. It also shows just how far Lance is willing to go, something Tommy will have to deal with later. Lance Vance starts off as Tommy's right-hand man, someone who feels like a real partner. They work together closely, fight side by side, and seem to build real trust. Lance is smooth, confident, and always chasing the spotlight, but as time passes, it becomes clear he's not as loyal as he seems. Lance wants more than just partnership. He wants power, credit, and money. His true colors come out during the deal with Ricardo Diaz. Tommy's back, he's been planning to sell him out, hoping to get rich and maybe even take the glory for himself. This moment cuts deep. Tommy isn't just shocked, he's hurt. This is someone he saw as family, someone he saved and fought for. The final fight between them takes place on the roof of Diaz's old mansion, the same place they once took over together. Lance stands there mocking Tommy with the line, "This is the last dance for Lance Vance." But the words don't save him. Tommy fights back and shoots him, ending it right there. Vinnie is one of the biggest traitors in GTA Advance. In one of the early missions, Vinnie fakes his own death by blowing up a car, making it look like something went wrong during a deal. Mike is left thinking Vinnie died and that the whole plan was ruined. But the truth is much worse. Vinnie took all the money they made and disappeared. He didn't just fake his death, he also killed anyone who could reveal the truth. That includes Johnny, one of their close contacts at a bar, and even Cisco, a powerful Colombian boss. As Mike learns more, the truth comes out. Vinnie had been lying to him the whole time, using him as a cover while planning to disappear with everything. The story builds up to a final showdown at the airport. Mike chases Vinnie across the runway and the surrounding hills in a fast, tense pursuit. Vinnie tries to get away but ends up crashing his car near the runway. That's where Mike finally catches up to him. The two face off in a brutal ending. Mike doesn't hold back. He kills Vinnie, ending it once and for all. The betrayal, the lies, and all the pain Vinnie caused lead to that final moment. It's personal. Vinnie wasn't just another bad guy, he was Mike's friend, and he turned his back on him for money. In the end, Mike gets his revenge, and the whole story of GTA Advance centers on that betrayal. Without Vinnie's lies, none of it would have happened. His death isn't just a win, it's justice. Massimo Torrini is the sneaky villain causing chaos in Liberty City stories. He shows up claiming he was sent by the Leone family in Italy to help bring peace between the city's gangs. But that's a lie. Massimo works with other gangs like the Triads and the Diablos, building relationships and pushing them to attack the Leone family. Under his influence, the Diablos start a full-on turf war with the Leones, trying to steal their territory. The Triads even destroy some of the Leone warehouses, hitting their money and power. He doesn't care about Liberty City or the people in it. His only goal is to help the Sicilians take over while everything falls apart. But Tony Cipriani, Salvatore Leone's right-hand man, starts to notice what's going on. He figures out that Massimo is the one pulling the strings and causing the violence. In the final showdown, Tony tracks Massimo to an airport skyscraper where the hitman is trying to make his escape. Massimo gets into a helicopter hoping to flee the city, but Tony isn't about to let that happen. He shoots the chopper down, and Massimo crashes to his death. Jerry Martinez is the corrupt cop who turns out to be the main villain in Vice City stories. At the beginning of the game, he acts like he's helping Victor and Lance Vance. He pretends to be a friendly officer, giving them jobs and advice. But behind the scenes, Jerry is just using them for his own benefit. He tricks Victor into becoming a drug mule, getting him kicked out of the army and ruining his military career. All along, Jerry is lying to powerful people, setting Vic and Lance up to take the fall so he can keep his own deals going safely in the background. As time goes on, Jerry's betrayals get worse. He turns on Vic and even tries to have him and Phil Cassidy killed by sending hitmen after them. One major moment comes during a raid on the Whitworth farmhouse, where Vic finally realizes that Jerry has been the one behind most of the double crossing. Every betrayal, every setup, it all leads back to him. Eventually, Vic and Lance manage to capture Jerry. They tie him up and force him to tell the truth, but Jerry keeps playing innocent. He says he's not the bad guy, but it's too late. By then, Vic knows exactly who he is dealing with. In the final mission, Vic fights through the Mendez hideout and finds Jerry. After a shootout, Victor kills him once and for all. Jerry's betrayal is one of the worst kinds. He was a cop, someone who should have protected others, but instead used his power to lie, cheat, and hurt people who trusted him. His death is personal for Victor. Brian Forbes, sometimes spelled Brian Forbes, is an undercover agent in Vice City stories who tricks Victor and Lance Vance into trusting him. At first, he pretends to be just another helpful contact. He gives them missions, acts like he's part of the criminal world, and even seems friendly with the Vance brothers, but what they don't know is that Forbes is actually an undercover federal agent, secretly gathering information while using them to get closer to the criminal scene in Vice City. Eventually, Lance finds out the truth about Forbes. Realizing they've been working with a cop, he and Victor track Forbes down and capture him. They take him to an abandoned building and force him to give up what he knows. Victor doesn't let him get away. He chases Forbes down, and when Forbes tries to run a second time, Victor ends it. He shoots Forbes dead, putting a final stop to his lies. The moment is intense because Forbes wasn't just any enemy, he was someone pretending to be a friend, giving the Vance brothers missions while secretly watching their every move. Shin Jiaoming is the aging leader of the Triads in Chinatown Wars, and for years he has trusted his nephew, Wu Uncle Kenny Lee, as his right-hand man. Shin is paranoid about being betrayed. He's always looking over his shoulder, worried someone is going to turn on him. But out of everyone, the one person he believes he can trust is Kenny. Kenny even goes out of his way to prove his loyalty by recovering a priceless ceremonial jade sword, a treasured family heirloom, and gifting it back to Shin. But everything changes during a heist at the Jade Dragon Casino. Shin starts putting the pieces together and begins to suspect Kenny. The two meet at Shin's penthouse, high above the city, for what looks like a final confrontation. Shin demands that Kenny explain himself and give the sword back. Instead of answering, Kenny slowly pulls out the sword, revealing he was the traitor all along. In a shocking moment, Kenny drives the blade straight through Shin's chest. Shin collapses, stunned and heartbroken, betrayed by the very person he raised and trusted like a son. It's one of the most brutal betrayals in the GTA series. The old Triad boss dies on the spot, and the entire balance of power shifts. Even the protagonist, who had worked with both men, is left shocked and nearly killed in the fallout. Steve Haynes is one of the main bad guys in Grand Theft Auto 5. From early on, he takes control of Michael, Franklin, and Trevor, and forces them to do dirty work for him. He acts like he's helping them, but he's really just using them to climb higher in his career. He tricks the three main characters into working for him. then uses them to fight against another government group called the IAA. The missions he gives them get more and more violent, and he doesn't care who gets hurt. In one of the most disturbing parts of the game, he even tells Trevor to torture an innocent man, just to get some information. That moment shows just how heartless Haynes really is. He also tries to make the three main characters turn on each other. He lies to Michael and Franklin, trying to make them believe the other is plotting to kill them. This nearly destroys their friendship, and it puts all of them in danger. Trevor especially gets close to being killed because of how Haynes plays games behind the scenes. Even though Haynes isn't the final boss of the game, the ending depends on your choices, he is one of the biggest reasons the story turns so dark. Devin Weston is one of the biggest villains in GTA 5. He's a rich billionaire who runs tech companies and uses his money and power to control everyone around him. He treats Michael, Franklin, and Trevor like chess pieces, just tools to help him get richer. At one point in the game, the crew does work for Devin, stealing expensive cars as part of a job, but after all the effort, Devin refuses to pay Trevor. He just leaves him hanging out on a hillside, acting like he doesn't owe him anything. This shows how little Devin respects the people working for him. Later on, Devin steals Michael's life savings too, despite everything Michael has done for him. That's not all. Devin even goes so far as to threaten Franklin, telling him to kill Michael if he wants to stay alive. This puts Franklin in a horrible position, forcing him to choose between loyalty and survival. Throughout the story, Devin keeps lying, cheating, and stabbing the protagonists in the back. When law enforcement starts digging into his shady business deals, Devin completely loses it. He tries to have Michael killed and doesn't care who else gets hurt. That's when the crew finally decides he has to go. If the player picks the ending where all enemies are taken down, Trevor gets the final word. He traps Devin and drives him to the edge of Mount Chiliad. In a dramatic moment, he pushes the car off the cliff, sending Devin to his death. Devin Weston's betrayal is all about money and power. He's not emotional, he's corporate, calculated, and heartless. He cheated Franklin, tried to kill Michael, and disrespected Trevor. His downfall feels like justice, like the greedy king finally falling off his throne. Harold Stretch. Joseph is a slim, sneaky gangster in GTA 5 who used to be close to Franklin Clinton. At first, it looks like Stretch is just another Grove Street member trying to get back into the mix after being released from prison. He even works alongside Franklin and helps out with some early missions. But soon, it becomes clear that something's off. Stretch isn't really loyal, he's switched sides and is secretly working with the Ballas, the rival gang that Franklin and his crew have always fought against. This betrayal hits hard because Franklin once trusted Stretch. They grew up together, ran jobs together, and had a shared past. But now, Stretch is not just acting shady, he's helping the Ballas set up Franklin and his family. In one part of the game, it's discovered that Stretch is even sending signals to enemy gangs from rooftops during missions. This shows that he was never really on Franklin's side, and was using their friendship to get close and feed information to their rivals. Eventually, Franklin and Trevor track Stretch down. It happens during the intense mission with the Vagos gang. Everything comes to a head. When they catch him on the basketball court, Stretch doesn't beg for forgiveness. Instead, he shouts about being a real gangster and shows no regret. But for Franklin, it's already too late. Stretch betrayed their friendship, helped enemies get close, and played both sides. Franklin pulls the trigger, ending it for good. Compared to the bigger betrayals in the game, Stretch's story might seem smaller, but it's more personal. It shows how even people from your own neighborhood, people you once trusted, can turn on you for clout or survival. Stretch chose the Ballas over the crew he grew up with, and that choice cost him everything. In the end, his death feels like street justice, proof that loyalty in Los Santos isn't just rare, it's dangerous to expect. Avon Hertz is the main villain in GTA Online's Doomsday Heist. He's a rich tech billionaire who acts like he wants to save the world, but in reality, he's the one trying to destroy it. At first, Avon pretends he's helping stop a dangerous terrorist group from launching nuclear attacks. He even gets the player to do missions for him under that excuse. But later, it's revealed that everything, the attacks, the threat, the chaos, was part of Avon's own plan. He made it all up. The real twist is that Avon built an AI supercomputer named Clifford. This AI is smart, powerful, and deadly. Clifford helps Avon carry out the plan to wipe out most of humanity. Their idea is to start over, with Clifford and Avon controlling what comes next. They blame the attacks on a made-up Russian villain, trying to distract everyone while they set up a global disaster. Clifford is fully on board, repeating creepy lines like "Clifford cannot be stopped," and talking about how humans are the problem. Avon, meanwhile, acts like he's above everyone else, joking about tsunamis and global destruction like it's just another business deal. In the final mission, Avon tries to escape wearing a jet-powered suit, laughing and bragging as if no one can touch him. But the player gets into a fighter jet and takes him down with a missile. Avon crashes and burns, literally. His high-tech plan is destroyed and Clifford is shut down for good. The betrayal here is huge. Avon tricked the entire world, built a monster AI, and almost ended humanity, all while pretending to be the hero. But in the end, his own arrogance is what gets him killed. He thought he was unstoppable, but the players proved otherwise. Juan Strickler, El Rubio, is the big final boss of the Cayo Perico heist in GTA Online. He's a flashy, over-the-top Colombian drug lord who owns an entire private island. On the outside, El Rubio seems like a friendly, rich guy who throws wild parties and treats his guests like VIPs. But underneath that smooth image, he's actually one of the world's most dangerous drug dealers. His island, Cayo Perico, isn't just a party spot. It's the center of his massive drug empire. The heist kicks off when Miguel Madrazo brings the player to a nightclub owned by El Rubio. Miguel explains that there's incriminating evidence on El Rubio's island, and it needs to be stolen. El Rubio seems chill at first. He lets people roam his party, smiles at guests, and even says things like, "It's my rules, anything goes." But behind the charm, he's completely ruthless. Once the player sneaks onto the island and starts the heist, the mood changes. It's no longer about dancing and drinks, it's now about dodging security, breaking into vaults, and facing armed guards. At the very end, El Rubio himself shows up, gun in hand, ready to kill. He doesn't hold back. He points a pistol straight at the player and tries to fight them off. This final showdown is full of tension and danger. After going through waves of guards, security systems, and even dodging lasers, this is the last battle. The player gets a choice here, either kill El Rubio or spare him. Either way, the moment is powerful. This man who once laughed and acted untouchable is finally cornered. His lies and crimes catch up to him. Whether he dies or gets taken away, the story ends with justice. For the player, it's a big win. After all the planning and chaos, they've taken down the most powerful villain in GTA Online. It's the perfect way to close the unforgettable heist. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe, and you also might enjoy watching these. Thanks.